Okay, shalom everyone. Great to see you all again, and happy to be alive. I know this is not a subject to be mentioned on the Zoom, but I had my colonoscopy yesterday, and you can all pray for me if you want. I had four polyps, and the surgeon said that from what he knows, the polyps are benign, but he's sending them to the lab to see if they're really benign or malignant. But he did not say to me, don't travel. So, God willing, as soon as my two books are totally handed over to the printer in Texas, I'm going to get ready to leave. And I think the printer will not take more than a week or two to get the books printed. And so I'm hoping by the time I get to Dallas, the books are printed. Claire, did you see the covers? Did you see the
Just
covers of the books?
no.
Oh, okay. You just got on now. Okay. No,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Uh,
Lori showed them.
I can
And
Ah,
send them to her and I can send them in the chat.
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
or my email, whichever's easier. I know you've got my email, Laurie.
Yeah,
right.
I could do that, but I'll put them in the chat so in case anybody else wants to grab them
Okay,
as well.
great.
Very good. Very good. Because
Okay.
my WhatsApp is very limited as far as membership, so I don't know who gets it and who doesn't. But the two books are virtually finished. I'm doing the last proofreading, and my son is going to help me with the template. I'm going to make sure all the pages match the table of contents. Put in the pictures. I have some other pictures I want to put in. Lots of little nitty gritty, which has to be done before the books are printed. And but my target date for being in Texas will be somewhere around the 21st, 22nd of January. And so I'll fly to Miami and then to Texas. And then I'll be in Texas, Oklahoma, probably Arkansas. And then I don't know yet if I'll be at the NRB in Tennessee, but I do have to make a loop-de-loop from Texas all the way over to Florida and then Florida up to Virginia and western part of Virginia, which is very close to Nashville, Bristol, and then Nashville, and everything driving, completely crazy. And then hopefully be back for my granddaughter's bas mitzvah, which is on the 18th of March. And hopefully I'll have a good 2 month trip to the US. And hoping there won't be something massive going on like an election in Israel, which could happen in April, if it's not in October, and also a war with Iran. And actually, what I wanted to do with this Zoom taping, recording, excuse me, taping is old-fashioned because there are no more tapes. Um, I wanted to talk about President Trump and Venezuela because many people don't understand the connection between Venezuela, even in Israel. People do not understand the global picture with Iran. And by the way, in one sentence, if Iran goes down, it's thanks also to President Trump and what he did in Venezuela. And just remember, this is like my last sentence and my first sentence in this Zoom. When Iran gets liberated, I don't say if, when Iran is liberated, no more drones will be sent to Russia. If the drones are not sent to Russia, they don't have drones to fire at Ukraine. So the war with Ukraine will be over. And so the Ukrainians have to hang in there. And, I personally have nothing against Russia, but this war is a complete tragedy. Too many good people on both sides are dying. And it's a pity. Trump is right. This has to end. But my personal opinion is that even though Russia does have legitimate claims to the eastern parts of Ukraine, which were handed over by Khrushchev in something called Khrushchev's Folly in 1954 to compensate everything that Stalin did to the Ukrainians. but now the Russians want it back and say, well, Ukraine was always all of it part of Russia, which is also true. But I think that so much bad blood between the Ukrainians and the Russians, the Ukrainians will never, ever want to go back to being part of Russia. Remember, Maduro goes down, Iran goes down, and the Russian drones are not there anymore to attack Iran. So this is, I mean, maybe Russians will use nuclear weapons. The Russians are talking about that all the time. God forbid, but I think Putin is capable of using nuclear weapons. So many people are talking about World War III. And China might try to use this as an excuse to take Taiwan. Well, so you tell me what it is other than World War III. So anyway, but what I have to say, as you all know, even including Claire, who is not an American, and is Angela here? Yes, Angela is here. Helen Lenin is here. So we have three English people here, English citizens, who understand what's going on also in the United States. And this is really a very, very interesting war being waged by President Trump against the communists, the Muslims, the Chinese. Well, Chinese are communists. I don't know how many of you are watching the broadcasts on TV of the American onslaught in Caracas, but for those of you who know what you were looking at, there were many pictures there of secondary explosions. America hit certain storage areas where there were missiles. And when you see the like bang, 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 bang lights, it means that the missiles are being blown up. These were missiles trained on the United States of America. So America was about to be attacked by the combined forces of Venezuela, China, Russia, and Iran. I don't know if people talk about it in the American press, but as an Israeli and as a former army spokesman and trained in the military, this was a war of self-defense for President Trump and for the United States, because Maduro was solidly in the pocket of not only the narco-terrorists, he was in the pocket of the Russians and the Chinese, and the United States had no choice but to do the right thing and destroy all those missiles. I hope that the U.S. Air Force also destroyed the factories that are making all these terrible, terrible fentanyl and other weapons of destruction to destroy the American people. This was a very important surgery of a malignant cancer called Maduro and his Bolivarianos. Horrible. And Venezuela was also controlled by Hezbollah, also narco trafficking, also being controlled by China. And in case you didn't know, China controls both ends of the Panama Canal. So there may be an expansion. Let me say it like this. If China attacks Taiwan, America will attack the Chinese bases in Panama because it has to be. And since I've never been a former Argentinian, my parents were Argentine, but we see a very interesting move. I would, as a person who loves the Christians, I would say a move of the Lord that Argentina now is pro-America, pro-Israel, pro-Christian, pro-right-wing. Chile has a new president now who is, again, pro-Christian, pro-America, pro-right-wing. The crazy Boric leader in Chile is gone. Paraguay has strengthened its relations with Israel. Uruguay has a pretty good relationship with Israel. And now Venezuela is going to be pro-Israel. It has to be. It has to do whatever Trump says. In other words, the governing body in Venezuela is still the Maduro government, but the Maduro government has had its back broken by the U.S. military, and the U.S. military hasn't given that leadership a coup d'état, just taken the top two leaders, Maduro and his wife. I don't know if you know this or not, but Venezuela was about to invade Guyana or Guyana, British Guiana, which used to be British Guiana. There is so much natural earth, rare earth minerals and other gold and oil and other things in Guyana, and the Venezuelans were going to take it. And an interesting point is that Brazil was ready to go to war with Venezuela to prevent them from taking Guyana. So I think Trump did a very good surgical operation there, Trump and the American troops. Colombia, I think, is going to return in the next elections to being right-wing and pro-America. Bolivia has become pro-Israel, pro-America, right-wing. So we're still left with Ecuador, Ecuador and Colombia, which are basically the two remaining bad guys in South America, which will change with new elections. So this is a right-wing, pro-conservative, pro-Israel, pro-Christian revolution taking place in Latin America. And I'm very, very happy for this. And like I said before, the implications for Iran are, this is the last nail in the coffin of the Ayatollahs. And Netanyahu and Trump have made it very clear to the Iranian people that the United States is with them. The Iranian people know that Israel is with them. So we're going to see a map changing. And the axis of evil basically will emerge from all of this as only Russia, China, and North Korea. Iran will be removed from the axis of evil. And the Iranian people are great people. We have always had good relations for 3,500 years with the Iranian people, the Persians, whatever. So this is something that we're looking forward to. I would say that we are watching carefully. When I say the map is changing, it can also be that the northernmost province, northwest Iran, is Azeri. Azeris are the same people as Azerbaijan. And I don't want to mention any names, but I have a close friend in Azerbaijan who is a TV producer, interviewer. She interviewed me a few times. And she's saying that the Azeri province has to break away from Iran and be united with Azerbaijan because they're the same people. I think I heard on the other hand that Khamenei is Azeri. But anyway, that's fanatic Shiite Islam. The lady who I'm close with in Azerbaijan is Shiite, but she's an atheist, and she said that the Iranians are going to lose Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is already an ally of Israel. They're going to lose the Azeri province, which will link up. Azerbaijan will grow in size. Just to the south of the Azeri province, the Kurds, Kurdish province in Iran is going to break away also, and they're going to link up with Kurdistan in Iraq. Now, once they do that, if and when they do that, airliners from Kurdistan will be able to take off and fly over former Iran.
I love you.
Did somebody want to say something?
Sorry.
Okay, so Kurdistani airliners, which are now flying at the mercy of the Iraqi government, will now declare independence, and then these airliners will be able to fly northeast through Azerbaijan, over Russia, and then anywhere in the world. There's also another possibility that that Israel and the Kurds will link up via the Druze The Druze are on Mount of the Druze, which is Suwaida, and the Druze and the Kurds can link up. And then Kurdish airliners can fly south, not only north, south, over Suwaida and then over northern Israel and southern Syria. And so we may be seeing Kurdistan breaking away from Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. And so we have a new country called Kurdistan or Rojava, and it's going to be a country of 50 million people. It will be allied with Israel. So this is really, really an historic revolution in the Middle East. And if the bearded terrorist in a suit, commonly known as Jelani or Shara, if he continues killing Christians and Shiites and Druze and Kurds, he will be removed. And then what's going to happen is I write about this in my 9th book about Turkey and the Armageddon. The Turks will come south in full force, and they will have to fight with Israel. So this is something that, I mean, believe me, we don't want war with the Turks. But if the bearded terrorist with a suit gets killed, the Turks are coming in, and I really hope my book about Turkey and the Armageddon, Lepanto too. I hope this book is printed and is sold out in big quantities before this war happens. Changing to the subject a little, Israel is now very much on the offensive in Lebanon with the permission and the support of President Trump. When and if the Hezbollah is finally subdued, you will be left with Christians, Druze, and Sunnis who support the destruction of the Hezbollah, or at least disarming them completely. And then Lebanon joins the Abraham Accords, and we have peace with Lebanon. It's still too early to know, but this is in the plan. Again, thanks also to President Trump, and thanks also to the stupidity of Hezbollah to attack Israel together with Hamas. By the way, the Hezbollah did not attack northern Israel, which they could have done, and they could have succeeded, at least up till the 3rd day. Gaza has to be disarmed. Again, it's not a question of if, but when. President Trump cannot carry out his plans in Gaza until the Hamas is disarmed. So Hezbollah has to be disarmed. Hamas has to be disarmed. The Iraqi militias, which are Shiite, have to be disarmed. Iran has to be liberated. I mean, this is the hand of God. This is the hand of God, because Israel had absolutely no plans for any of this until Israel was attacked by sneak attack in a Holocaust type attack, which forced us to do things we never dreamt to do, including bringing the Druze under our umbrella. The Druze are with us. I also believe the Christians of Lebanon were very, very anti-Israel, very anti-Semitic, will now be pro-Israel, because Israel is the only one that will defend them. Israel is the only one who will defend the Shiite Alawites in Latakia and Tartus. And so what we see very simply is a complete change in the map of the entire Middle East. And none of this is something that the Israeli leadership was planning on doing. This is something from God. And we have so many miracles. You know, we are the generation which has witnessed more miracles in the last 2,000 years since the time of Jesus Christ. So many miracles taking place in the Bible for Jew and for Christian. So this is a very remarkable time that we are living in. I also wanted to add, you know what, I'll talk about Somaliland, but first I wanted to introduce my son. And Lori, are you there?
I'm here.
Here's
Hey, Jacob, how's
Jacob.
it going?
He remembers you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. How are you?
Great, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, doing great. Enjoying a day with half a day with my parents.
Oh,
Um,
great.
thank God. Anyway, everything's okay over there?
As okay as it is anywhere. The
Good,
world's kind
good.
of crazy right now.
Yeah, right now and yesterday and tomorrow, crazy times,
Mhm.
crazy times. But we're going to the right place,
That's right.
hopefully. Thank God.
That's right.
By the way, Yaakov had 1 week of vacation and he decided to be with his papa. And it was the first time in 20 years that my son could have some papa time because always with the grandkids and with his wife and with his mom, I don't count, you know. So he was with me in Texas. And I think in the middle of the 1 week that he was to be with me, the 12 days of rocket bombardments with Iran started and all the planes were grounded, and he could not get back to Israel. And because Yaakov has a very, very important job in the bank, he's considered an essential worker for the government of Israel. And they flew him well, you know, he had his ticket with United to Israel. That got canceled. And so he flew to Athens. And then from Athens, as you probably know, Yaakov had a special secret flight to Aqaba in Jordan. And then from there were Mossad people which helped him go across to the Israeli border. And then from there, they had buses to go up to Tel Aviv. And so Yaakov was a big hero coming home, and they appreciated him coming back to the bank. And I very much was happy he got back safely, but I was not happy that he had to leave me. But it was a great treat that Yaakov could be with me at least 10 days in the US. And so anyway, so now we're here in Israel. And as you all probably know, what is Claire saying?
You
Avi, you
keep
keep
disappearing.
disappearing. It's like you have a superpower. No, I don't have a superpower. Big Brother with the computer system probably will not allow two pictures. But anyway, so I'm just very, very happy to be here with my son and my wife. And my other son bombed out on us. He was supposed to come today and he didn't. So anyway, everything is good. And like I said before, it seems like my surgeon gave me Helen Lenine. What are you saying? Yaakov, you are the spitting image of your mom. Thank you very much. At least he got his beautiful looks from his mom. And I got my intelligence information from his mom. And I mean, thanks to his mom, I wrote 9 books. So she's always telling me I don't know anything, and she's right. I just quote my wife on everything. And yes, she is well. She's downstairs watching. I don't know what she's watching, but I told her to come up. She said, "No, no, 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 no. I don't like." She's a very private person. Doesn't like to be. Rachel, are you coming up? So anyway,
She's making me a cup of tea.
making Yaakov a cup of tea, and we're very happy Yaakov is here. One of the great happinesses is to have your children come and be with you, and even more is the grandkids. And so we're very, very excited. And see, I haven't disappeared. If I move, then I'll disappear. So nice to meet your son. Claire is from the island of Malta. She's British, but she lives in Malta, very close
Wow,
by.
wow.
And I don't know, did you go, Claire, did you go to the catacombs in Malta?
I've been to the catacombs, but not them. I've been to the other where Paul was underneath and he used to go up to the plaza and preach the word of God. And I'm
Okay.
not sure if it's them or a different one, but I'll be
But
checking the other one out anyway.
there are menorahs all over the place
Yeah,
in the other one. So
it must
who
be the
knows?
other one because I don't
Who,
remember seeing that.
who knows what history is hidden there?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what? Maybe I'll come to Malta and write a book with your help.
yeah.
We'll go to the catacombs and do it.
That's awesome. Okay, you've said it now. You need to stick to it.
Yes, yes, God willing. Let
Yeah,
me.
God willing.
You know, I have to tell you, my son has a daughter getting married in May. And so
Wow.
he said, when are you writing your 10th book? I said, well, maybe I'll write my 10th book for my other daughter's getting married in October or something. So maybe I'll go to Malta and write a book on the Jewish catacombs in Malta. And
Sounds like a plan.
yeah, so that'll be my 10th book. And anyway, and we'll see what happens with the elections. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll be in the Knesset and they'll say, no, you cannot travel anymore. You have to be in the Knesset fighting with everyone. And
Yeah,
you know,
we'll have to know doing.
I have to tell you a little story. I have a very dear Greek friend on the island of Cyprus, and he's been over to Israel many times. We've been over to Cyprus many times, and he said that we were watching TV once here in my house, and we were watching the Knesset, and everybody was yelling at everyone at the same time, which is very Israeli. And he said to me, you know, we have a term in ancient Greek called chavraton evreon. And he says, we don't know what it means. We just know that it means Jews yelling at each other. And this is something from 2,000 years ago. Havraton, I said, simple, it's Hebrew. Havraton comes from the word chevrat. Evreon is Hebrews. So this is a group of Hebrews yelling at each other because that's what the Jews do best. I mean, we are very good at yelling at each other. And God willing, if and when I get elected to the Knesset, the first thing I'm going to do is give a class on ancient Greek, which is basically Hebrew words, which is havraton evreon, Jews yelling at each other and nobody listening. Hey, listen, if you go to the Machane Yehuda market, everyone is yelling at everyone and they're selling their produce, and it's a lot of fun. So I know in America, oh, Claire says, same as Malta. Everyone is yelling at everyone. This proves that the people of Malta are Jewish.
Goodbye, everyone. I have to go drink my tea. Have a
Bye,
great day.
Jacob. Good to see you.
Same. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Send your mom upstairs.
Take care. Bye.
Toda Yaakova.
Bye.
So anyway, so that's from Lori Bond to everyone. Links to book cover images. Okay, very good. Thank you, Lori. Thank you. I think, Lori, the first time I will be offering my two new books will be at your house on Sunday morning. You wanted me, I think, on the 15th or no, the 16th, I think it was, or the 17th. Probably it'll be the 21st.
We'll figure it out.
24th.
We'll figure it out.
It'll probably be the next Sunday in January. Hopefully the books will be printed. But when the books are ready, I come to your house. So
We'll figure it out. Sounds good.
many people are very much waiting for the two new books. So I'm very, very excited. I really don't want to leave Israel because so much always going on here, but I think it's very critical for me to travel and try to scrape the pennies together because we have these elections coming up at some time in 2026. And I don't know. I believe God is, you've seen the miracles God has been doing. So is it such a big miracle for God to get the Bible Block Party into the Knesset? So we'll see about that. Okay, so I get back to the message now.
Can I ask a question, Avi?
What, can I say no to you?
Yes, you can. Is there any chance that this might affect Bolsonaro? What's happened to Maduro?
Well, what people are saying in the American media, right-wing media, which is the one I listen to, Bolsonaro was illegally arrested. He was illegally judged by corrupt judges, appointed by Lula da Silva.
Mhm.
And it's a great travesty, which happened to Bolsonaro. And I have a feeling that we will see, you know, what they wanted to do to Netanyahu, what they wanted to do to Trump, they did to Bolsonaro.
They
And
did.
I think that the Brazilian people will vote the right way next time. And hopefully the elections will not be rigged because I think this time they were rigged. And so, listen, all of South America is going to the right wing now, is going to the
Yes.
conservatives. And
Fantastic.
Bolsonaro is in jail for really
know.
good reasons. And
And
his
he's
judge,
really ill as well.
okay. So my prayers are with Bolsonaro and with the Christians. and obviously, and it'll make me very happy when all of Latin America is right wing. So we have
Oh,
to watch that. Watch that
absolutely.
carefully. I think Honduras and Guatemala also are right wing now. So we'll have to see, what happens with Mexico, because
Yes.
unfortunately, the Mexican president, who is Jewish, is also very much left wing. I hate to
Mm,
say left wing deep state, but all these people work together.
mm,
And I just hope the Jews don't get blamed, because Jews always get blamed for anything that is socialist or universalist.
mm.
It's a big problem. But like I said before, Latin America is going to the right. America went to the right. And like I say in every Zoom, I just pray for President Trump that God will give him long life and good health and the ability to continue working the full term. And then Israel is already preparing. I don't know, maybe it's left-wing propaganda, but Israel is preparing perhaps for a new government which will not be friendly to Israel or as friendly. And you have both certain MAGA groups that are anti-Israel, and you have, of course, Democrats. Uh, Kamala Harris even came out and attacked Trump for the arrest of Maduro, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Can you imagine today Israel if
Mm.
Kamala Harris had been elected? God forbid.
Just about thinking about.
It's completely crazy.
Mm.
So Trump, literally, I say, take the have the gall to say that President Trump is a gift of God to America, and of course, by extension, a gift to Israel. And not only a gift to Israel, it could be that President Trump is a gift to the Iranian people. You
Yes.
have 100 million people suffering under these
Mm.
crazy ayatollahs.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's true or not, but they say that I didn't get to the subject I was going to speak about, but the TV just reminded me about Somaliland, so I'm going to talk about that next. The United States has been God's guiding hand for everything that's going on in the last year. Just a series of miracles. Now, regarding Somaliland, what I wanted to say is, as most of you may or may not know, and I've spoken about this many times, I'm a stamp collector. And I used to be a very fanatic stamp collector. When you're a fanatic stamp collector, really you need a photographic memory. And to do that, you have to have a Scott catalog. You have to physically move the stamps around, put them in order. You have to look at the Scott catalog to understand the history. Now, Somaliland was part of Somalia, but before that, Somaliland was a British colony, a British protectorate, and Somalia, which is not such a good guy, was Italian, and they were merged. And then the British Somaliland broke away, and like 20 years ago. And I follow with the stamp collecting. I know the history of each country. There are things you do not learn in school. There are things you do not learn in university or from the media. But if you're a stamp collector, stamps are not just artistic work with value, financial value, but they give you the history of the country. And by the way, Claire, just so you should know, I know you're still there somewhere. Let me see where Claire is. I think I see you. Yes, there you are. My favorite country of all was Malta. I don't know why. I just love stamps from Malta, especially from the British period. And you learn so much about every country from its postage stamps. So Somaliland, Israel, I didn't know this. Nobody knew this. Israel was very quietly developing relations with Somaliland, which was a British protectorate. And of course, the Somalia Italian protectorate became very anti-America. And the British Somaliland is very pro-America. They're Somalis also, but their political approach probably is because of the British government that was there. Um, and it is an extremely, extremely strategic piece of territory. Also, Somaliland, the British Somalia, has many natural resources, and Israel has been helping in many ways, especially agriculture, helping the people of Somaliland, and they're all Muslim, they're all Sunnis, but they love Israel, and so where Israel is the first country, unless you want to consider Taiwan a country, and the Chinese communists went crazy when Israel recognized Somaliland, um, because the Chinese are in the Italian Somalia. Turkey is in the Italian Somalia. So it's very, very exciting that Netanyahu was the first country other than Taiwan to recognize Somaliland. And guess what? We're only about 200 miles away from the Houthis instead of 1,400 kilometers or miles. I always get confused. Between you and me, what's 1,000 miles, 1,000 kilometers? What's the difference? And the Houthis are going to get served their justice. Another point, and this is by extension in Africa, that Iran and the Houthis have bases on the Red Sea coast. And the president of Somalia, who also is working to have relations with Israel, kicked them out. He said, we don't want to have Chinese naval bases on the east coast of Sudan. And they were very actively supporting the, I think, RSF rebels or something in Sudan. And they killed tens of thousands of Sudanese. So this is something that, when you live in Israel, all these things pop up in the media here. I know that in America, nobody gets any of this media. But so Israel, this is also a miracle from God that we were working very, very hard to establish these relations with Somaliland. And so we're going to see where this goes. Will we have a whole community of Israelis living now in Somaliland? They even said there was a synagogue there. So the Israeli TV people went to see where the synagogue was. It's now just a shell. But and it's a possibility of a great tourist haven also for Israeli and other tourists. Let me just say, anyone who blesses Israel will be blessed. If Somaliland blesses Israel, it will be blessed, and it will be blessed. And I'm one of those eternal optimists who believes that the good guys win. And what we're going to see, I think, is the axis of evil being chopped down. Maduro is out. Venezuela is out, because even if Trump left the same government in power, they're going to do as they're told by the American government, or they're going to be completely out. I think that Trump wanted to make sure there was not complete anarchy, so he allowed the government to stay there. But the minute Maduro's government starts acting in a way it should not act, it will be replaced, and the Americans will be occupying at least the economic aspects of Venezuela. Iran is going to be freed. Probably some general is going to come in and, as they say here, with 10 tanks, storm the presidential palace, and it's over. So I expect we shall be seeing the overthrow of the Ayatollah regime very soon. We may see great pockets of resistance. They say 3 million Basiji terrorists will have to be dealt with, because unless they all quit the Basiji and join the new forces. So we never know who's going to be ruling, but at least the people will be free to a certain extent in Iran. And a very large portion of the Iranian people are pro-Israel. So we'll have to see how this all unfolds. But all of this is thanks to President Trump. Obama could have done this in 2009 when they were shooting beautiful young girls in the head. Terrible, terrible Holocaust brought upon the people of Iran, terrible crimes against humanity. And Obama just, looked the other way. So I'm expecting good news coming out of Iran. Anything is better than what the Iranians have now. So we're very excited, because Israelis love Iran. We love the Iranian people. We have many Iranian Jews living in Israel. They watch our media. They know that President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu are very pro the people of Iran. And like I said earlier at the very beginning of the broadcast, I said when Iran becomes free, the war in the Ukraine ends because Russia will not have the drones. The drone exports to Russia will be stopped. When the drones stop going to Russia, the war in effect will be over. The Russians will not be able to continue their war. Or they might, but it'll be a lot less. And I hate to say this because I love the Russians. I even love Putin because he's very pro-Jewish. But I'm rooting for the Ukrainians. They're European. And by the way, there are Jewish communities in both countries. So, Israel officially is neutral, but the Ukrainian people have a right to be free from the Russian 1,000-year history of oligarchic terrorism. All the czars were terrorists. The Russian people lost 1 million people for nothing. The Russian economy is suffering. I mean, Russia could immediately rebound because they have all this oil and other natural resources. But I will say something, and it leads me to a story that I think I might have mentioned before. China is taking over Siberia. The Russian population is shrinking, and the Chinese are brought in to work because they have a surplus of workers, so it seems. So there was this Russian military academy, and the teacher who was talking, I don't know who the teacher was, but he was some senior officer, was saying, hey, listen, the Israelis are outnumbered 100 to 1, but they win every time. So one of the soldiers in the academic course, why are you laughing, Helen?
It's great. Keep up.
And one of the Russian soldiers in the course said, well, if the Israelis can defeat 100 to 1 odds, why do we bring 1 million or 2 million Israelis here to live in Russia and let them fight the Chinese? And then we win against the Chinese. So this is not a joke. This is a real story. The Chinese are watching with glee as the Russians get chopped to pieces in the Ukraine. Can you imagine 1 million Russian boys killed for nothing? I mean, 1 million Russian boys means 1 million Russian mothers and 1 million Russian fathers. And this is crazy. Putin could have achieved so much more with sugar instead of vinegar. He could have had good relations with the Ukraine, but there's this megalomaniac empire urge to conquer other territories. And as many people know, after the Ukraine, if the Russians continue, they'll go into the Baltics. They'll go into other republics that they want. Poland is in danger. Czech Republic is in danger. So this is something that my hope is that the Ukrainians win and it's over. Because if there's some deal with the Russians, they will abrogate the deal and continue attacking. So that's the situation with Russia. I think the defeat of the Ayatollahs in Iran has great implications for Russia-Ukraine war. And you know what? Trump is going to be able to notch it up on his own record because of him. And there'll be some truth to it. And then, you know what? Trump will make a deal with the Russians and say, we will help to protect you from the Chinese, because what the Russian government has been saying all the time is kind of inciting the Chinese to attack Russia when the time comes. So I think that Trump has his eye on Russia, either with Putin or after Putin, to help Russia to rebound, but there has to be some kind of end of war with the Ukrainians. And I don't know if Zelensky will survive if he surrenders Ukrainian territory to the Russians. So we have to watch that too. But I think a good step in that direction is the defeat of the Ayatollahs. There are even rumors that Ayatollah Khamenei will flee to Moscow to be with
Yeah.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. So we're watching that too. Nobody really knows. And like I mentioned before, I have this very dear TV reporter from Azerbaijan. And she says, well, we're going to take the Azeri province in the north of Iran, and it'll become part of greater Azerbaijan. And the Kurds are going to break away, that I say, and join the Kurdish state in Rojava in 50 million population of Kurdistan. And one of the things I'm saying in my book, or my ninth book about Turkey and the Armageddon, at the end of the day, the Turkish government will be torn apart. The Turks will not be able to take in 100, 200 million fighters to fight Israel. Very simply, the Turkish government will not be able to host so many people. As it says in the Bible, I think it's going to take 7 months to destroy all the weapons of the enemies coming against Israel. All these things are described in the Bible. So there are many people who don't believe in the Bible. Well, that's their loss. Anyway, so we mentioned Somaliland, we mentioned Sudan, we mentioned Iran. There's a lot going on. A lot going on. Are there any questions?
Hi, Avi.
Yes, dear.
Sandra, hello. Couple of things. I'll just pick your brain. I wonder then, I read that Venezuela was making drones in conjunction for Iran, with Iran. So I guess that operation will be stopping. And curiously, Pakistan is burning images of Trump in response to Maduro's arrest and capture. And if I could also ask you, what do you think is going to happen with Cuba now?
Well, Cuba was getting all its oil from Venezuela.
Mm.
Other than that, the Cuban government is a complete failure. I heard some special authority on Cuba saying that they're all nincompoops. You know the term nincompoop in American
Yeah,
English?
yeah.
The whole Cuban government is basically worthless. The Cuban people are suffering tremendously. So I think, listen, I was a young boy, 11, 12, when Castro came to power. And I mean, everyone thought he was the greatest thing in the world. And I had some Jewish communist friends from Argentina. And because of them, I met my wife Rachel on a bus because they were cursing my parents in Argentine Spanish, which is my mother tongue. And I started fighting with them. And I didn't get to fight with them because I looked at my wife and started yelling at her in Spanish. And my wife said, "I'm not from Argentina. I'm not from Egypt. I'm not from Argentina. I'm from Egypt." I said, "Idiot. You're yelling at the wrong person." So I apologized and I asked her where she's from. She says from Egypt. And 2 years later, we married.
Mm.
So that was like lightning with a clear blue sky, lightning from God coming out of anywhere.
Mhm.
And very frankly, I would not have written my 9 books had I not met Rachel. And I was one of those typical liberal Jews who loved the Muslims and hated the Christians. Today, I don't hate the Muslims, but I love the Christians. I love the Muslims, but I hate Satan. And but anyway, so these Argentine communists were always talking about Che Guevara, Che Guevara. This is 1970, January 1970,
Mhm.
and I was known as the fascist. And all of the Argentine communists are saying, "You're such a nice guy. How can you be a fascist?" And you know what? We became best friends after we had this fight on the bus. We became best friends, me and the communists. And they're always saying to me, "You're such a nice guy. How can you be a fascist?" And anyway, actually, when I was in high school and in my first 2 years of college in New York University, people said, "You don't smoke pot. You don't take drugs. You're a fascist." I said, "Praise God for the fascists." And
Amen.
and to this day, I've never smoked pot and never took drugs.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe I'm just square.
Maybe you're
But
just a good boy. Hmm?
well,
You've been brought up good.
you tell my wife that. She says I'm not a good boy.
She
But
already knows.
yeah, she says, as they say in Texas, I'm bad, bad, bad,
Buy it.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and y'all, and but the craziest thing when I met my wife and she said to me, "Tell me, are you crazy?" The first thing she says to me. I had my notepad, to take notes to interview her, and are you crazy? I said, "Why? Am I crazy? How could you leave America to come to live in this war zone, Israel?" And I said, because the Goyim hate us, the non-Jews hate us. She said, Goyim, who are the Goyim? I said, the Christians. And so my wife said, because in 1970 in America, you were a Jew or you were a Christian. There were no Muslims. And so she said to me, not only are you crazy, you also don't know anything. Because the Goyim are the Muslims, and the Christians and the Jews are one people, we're the people of the book. This is the very first thing my wife said to me over a
Wow.
cup of coffee.
You
And
guys.
and I always say I always listen to my wife, but it takes sometimes 20 years before I understand what she's saying. And so, like I said before, today I love the Muslims, but Muslims great people, but the Christians are the brothers and sisters. And actually, when I debate with rabbis, it says in our morning prayers, praise God, we are not amongst those who broke away. Now, nobody says who broke away. The Christians broke away because they were Jewish, but they had a different approach. And so I say, Christians are Jews. Uh, I get in so much trouble. And now they're talking, I'm changing the subject. I know we have to wrap up pretty soon, but there are so many Jews, I believe, who will be fleeing America and the West because of
Mm.
the incremental Islamic takeover everywhere. And, we Jews are crazy. We hate the Christians until we marry them. And so there are going to be so many Jews, they say 80% of American Jews marry Christian spouses. And so that means when a Jew flees from America to live in Israel, what are you going to tell me? They're going to leave their Christian spouses and children in the States to die? They're going to have to bring them. And so the rabbis don't like what I'm saying. Even some, secular Israeli Jews who have podcasts, they turned the podcast off when I said that millions of Christians will be moving to Israel. But listen, the Bible says that our borders are going to go from the Nile to the Euphrates. We can't do it with just 2 or 3 million Jews. We're going to have 10 million people coming, which will include many, many non-Jews. And we will settle them in the new territories that we are forced to take in Syria and Lebanon. And we're going to go from the Nile to the Euphrates. This cannot be done without Christians being with us. And there will be Jewish and Christian families living in Lebanon and in Syria. And I'm not a megalomaniac. I just believe in the Bible.
Yeah. Avi, curiously, Mandani, the New York mayor, has
Yes,
removed the
he's also
ECR
he's also
anti.
good news.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I see he's removed the definition of anti-Semitism, um, and said he's wants to rule by collectivism. I mean, surely, the Jewish people must be waking up now on hearing those
Let
words.
me let me tell you, my dear. Can I call you my dear?
Sure, sure.
There were Jews in Germany in 1938 who
Mm,
said Hitler will never do all those
mm,
things.
mm,
Never, ever. And by the end of World War II, there were still 5,000 Jews hiding in Berlin.
yeah.
There are many Jews who will never leave the US.
Really?
They may go to live in Montana. I don't know where they're going to go to live. There's a saying in American slang, you can run, but you can't hide. And in the end, those Jews who want to survive will have to move to Israel. And I'll tell you something. Many of the Christian spouses are more Zionist than the Jewish spouses are.
That's true.
Am I saying something wrong? I mean, I think
No,
the
no.
No,
rights.
it's great.
Listen, I've been in 1,000 churches all over the world, and but not in Malta. Not in Malta. You see, I was in London with you, Helen, and I was with Angela in Jersey, And everywhere I go, people say Jewish spouses, we want a Jewish spouse. You know, they want a Jewish man, a Jewish woman. I just hope they're not homosexual couples. Otherwise, that's not happy for me. And all I'm saying is that whether we like it or not, God, for some reason, allowed 80% of the Jews in America to marry Christian spouses or non-Jewish spouses. And so my approach is let's welcome those who want to convert to Judaism. Those who don't want to convert, accept them as Christians. But we are the same tree, the olive tree, the roots, the branches. We cannot take from the Nile to the Euphrates without a very big importation of American Jews, British Jews, Canadian Jews, and their Christian spouses. What's the problem here? They have cooties. I don't know if you Christians know what cooties are. Cooties, I see by your pictures that you don't know the word. Cooties is a term when we were young kids, and I'm sure as British, you'd know the story about the game tag. And if somebody touches you, you're tagged, then you have to touch somebody.
Yes.
So cooties is like you've got some abomination inside of you, like the devil or something, and if somebody tags you, you got the cooties. So I always say I go to Christian churches, so I get the Christian cooties.
Cooties everywhere.
So I had to teach you some American slang.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I think a Jew getting the Christian cooties is a great thing. When the Messiah, forgive me for saying this, when the Messiah is standing on the Mount of Olives, he's going to say, who has cooties? Everyone who raises his hand is saved.
Absolutely.
So, Avi, do you think that it will now come to light about the Dominion machines and the voting interference in the 2020 elections?
Are you asking me if the elections were
Well, no, I'm pretty sure they were.
of course they were. Of course they
Yeah,
were.
but with
Even
Maduro,
to,
Venezuela's interference.
to this day, no, wait a second. Venezuela, they know that Maduro lost.
Yes,
There was no question of ballots. They know that with the counting that he lost.
yes,
He brushed it aside. But in America, anyone who spoke about a rigged election was considered crazy or stupid or conspiracy theory or something. But every day we're getting more and more proof of the fake ballots that were posted, for dead people, and Trump knows it. But
for
I
the
think,
interference of the machines from
but yes,
Venezuela.
there are all kinds of ways to falsify the election.
Mm,
It happened in Brazil as well.
yeah,
Yeah. Listen, in Israel, we have one of the strongest economies in the world, and we're moving ahead in so many aspects. But our elections are paper ballots. You cannot, cheat on paper ballots. And you have to appear personally with your ID card. I mean, I love voting, here in Israel because you know that your vote is counted.
yeah.
Any more questions before our beautiful, lovely Lori gives us the axe?
Avi, it's Elizabeth. How are you?
Elizabeth!
Yes. How are you?
I'm
Are
hoping to
you
be in West Texas sometime in, I would say not late January, probably early February. I'm coming in, hopefully.
okay? I wanted to ask and see when you were planning on being in this area.
Right. Well, I'm planning to get into Dallas around the 21st, 22nd, then out to you guys. But my books are being printed very soon, so hopefully the books will be there when I come.
Okay. We look forward to seeing you.
I've got two very nice Hispanic churches in Odessa, and when I go there, I speak in English in one service and Spanish in the other service.
They have a Messianic congregation now called Beth Yeshua
I think that's one of them.
Good, because they just finished their building it, and they just had their services started there last Shabbat.
Okay, then maybe that's another. I go to two churches,
Yeah. I think
but
you went there last year or last time you came.
it could be, could be. By the way, all Hispanics are Jewish. I don't know if you know that.
Really?
Yes.
All Hispanics have Jewish blood, no matter what you say. That's why most of these Hispanics are so pro-Israel.
Is that the Morenos?
It's the
Well,
Portuguese, I think, isn't it? Is that?
it was Zuniga's church, but his son took over. I don't remember. And then Camino del Iglesia del Camino with Pastor Porras. I don't know if you know him. The church was full of Cubans, and a very wonderful Sunday I had with them. The 9:30 service was English, the 11:30 service was Spanish, and I have a good time in both languages. People say, you know Spanish? I say, of course I know Spanish. My name is Pancho Villa. I killed my enemy for 2 pesos. You are my friend. I kill you for nothing.
You're so funny.
That's good.
I don't know. Maybe Lori should stop the taping before I get into trouble.
I was about to
No,
say, I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah. I
And
love